Hello students. So today I am going to start with a very good chapter, retirement of a partner. So let's understand, whenever a partner retires, so what happens? So basically whenever a partner retires, so he gets two right back. When whatever amount he has contributed on account of his capital and whatever amount he has contributed on account of share of goodwill, or maybe whatever amount he earns for share of goodwill. So he gets back these two things. So whenever we are talking about the retirement of a partner, so we have to consider few checklist, and this checklist is very important, and we go accordingly this checklist. So first is calculation of new profit and loss sharing ratio. As you know, whenever the partner is retired, so definitely the new ratio is calculated, because the old ratio is being affected with the retirement of a existing partner, and definitely we have to find the gaining ratio. Next one is treatment of valued and appeared goodwill. Third is treatment of accumulated profits, reserves and losses. Next one is preparation of revaluation account, partners capital account, and balance sheet along with the capital adjustment. So let's start with the first concept, that is calculation new profit and loss ratio and gaining ratio. So whenever you are talking about the calculation of new profit and loss sharing ratio, so before starting with this, I like to talk about this term song. Whenever you have to calculate the gaining ratio, the formula is new minus old. In order to ascertain the gaining ratio, the formula is new minus old. But you have to remember three concepts here, three formulas. So while calculating the old ratio, the formula would be new minus gaining. And suppose if they ask you to calculate new ratio, the formula would be simple, that is old plus gain. So most of question in your exam can be asked on this and sometime on this ratio also. So let's talk about the calculating the new ratio. Whenever you calculate the new ratio, the formula is old plus gaining ratio. So calculation of new profit and loss ratio. New profit and loss sharing ratio. So first condition is when the question is silent. When the question is silent. Second is when the gaining ratio is given. So I'll just take an example on this part. So suppose if A, B and C were the three partners having a share of 5:3:2. So suppose if A retires, then B and C will have the share of 3:2. If B retires, then A and C is having the ratio of 5:2. Similarly, if C retires, then A and B is having a ratio of 5:3. And one thing you have to learn here, that whenever the question is silent, so new ratio becomes the gaining ratio. New ratio becomes the gaining ratio. Now, next part is when the gaining ratio is given. Let's take an example here also. So suppose if A, B and C were the three partners having a share of say 5:3:2, B retires and B has given 3/5 of his share to A. So this is the gaining share for A, the existing partner, and 2/5 of his share is given to C. So now you have to calculate the new ratio of A and C. So we have to apply this formula. So the formula would be old plus gaining. So here the old is 5/10 and he gains 3/5 of the retiring partner share, that is 3/10. 10. Similarly, for C, the old ratio was 2 by 10 and he gains 2/5 of retiring partner's share of goodwill. So, if you could simplify this, this is 25 plus 9. So, it should be 34 by 50. And for this, 50, 10 and 6. So, this should be 16 by 50. So, the new ratio between A and C is 34 is to 16. If you could simplify this, so it should be 17 is to 8. Okay. Now, the gaining ratio. How to calculate the gaining ratio? For gaining ratio, we have to apply this formula. Just take an example that suppose if A, B and C were the three partners having a share of 5 is to 3 is to 2. B retires and A and C will continue in the ratio of 2 is to 3. So, this was their old ratio and this is their new ratio. So, in order to ascertain the gaining ratio, the formula would be new ratio minus old ratio. Okay. So, now A's new share is 2 by 5 minus the old share, that is 5 by 10. C's new share is 3 by 5 minus 2 by 10. So, 10, 4 minus 5. So, this is minus 1 by 10 and here 6 minus 2. So, that would be 4 by 10. So, while calculating the gaining ratio, if the answer comes in negative, so it means that partner must be the sacrificing partner. So, here you find A is a sacrificing partner by 1 by 10 and C is the only gaining partner by 4 by 10. So, C is the only gaining partner over here. Now, moving to the next concept. Now, what is the treatment of goodwill? If you talk about that, there are two types of goodwill, valued goodwill and appeared goodwill. So, valued goodwill must be given in the additional information, and as far as the appeared goodwill is concerned, this appeared goodwill is given in the asset side of your balance sheet. Now, in order to pass the journal entries for valued goodwill, I have given you certain steps. Like first step, find the retiring partner's share of goodwill. Second step, find the gaining ratio. Third step, pass an adjusting journal entry, that is gaining partner's capital account debit to sacrificing partner's capital account. So, find the retiring partner's share of goodwill, find the gaining ratio and pass an adjusting journal entries, that is gaining partner's capital account debit to sacrificing partner's capital account. And if you talk about the appeared goodwill, so this must be given in your asset side, or maybe if additional information, so must be mentioned that this is an appeared goodwill. And the treatment is all partners capital account debit to goodwill account in their old profit and loss sharing ratio. So, let us take an example for the same. Suppose if A, B and C were the three partners having a profit and loss sharing ratio of 5 is to 3 is to 2. Okay. And suppose if C retires and they have given you the balance sheet, in the asset side they have given you the goodwill. So, this is your appeared goodwill, the goodwill which is given in your asset side, this is your appeared goodwill, and appeared goodwill given as rupees 10,000 rupees. Okay. In the additional information, it is given that firm's valued goodwill is rupees 1 lakh. So, you can easily notice that this is your valued goodwill amount and this is your appeared goodwill amount. So, let us talk about the appeared goodwill. So, for appeared goodwill, since it is created by the old partners, I mean all the partners including the retiring partner. So, this has to be written off between all the partner including the retiring partner in their old profit and loss sharing ratio. So, now for appeared goodwill, the entry should be A's capital account debit, B's capital account debit, C's capital account debit, and to goodwill account, and this amount of goodwill of rupees 10,000 should be taken over by A, B and C in the ratio of 5:3:2. So 5 by 10 of this amount, that is 5,000, should be taken over by A, 3,000 should be taken over by B and 2,000 should be taken over by C. So appeared goodwill का concept हो गया, right? So let's talk about the firm's valued goodwill. तो मैंने क्या बताया था? Again taking you to the first slide. Find the retiring partner's share of goodwill, find the gaining ratio and pass an adjusting journal entries, that is gaining partner's capital account debit to sacrificing partner's capital account. So here you find that the firm's valued goodwill is, for this, firm's valued goodwill is rupees 1 lakh. Now you have to find the share of the retiring partner. So C's share of goodwill is that is 2/10 of 1 lakh. So it should be 20,000. Now find the gaining ratio. I have told you that whenever the question is silent, so the new ratio becomes the gaining ratio. So the new ratio between A and B is 5:3 and this becomes the gaining ratio. And fourth step, what we have to do is, we have to pass in adjusting journal entries, that is gaining partner's capital account debit to sacrificing partner's capital account. Here we find that A and B are the gaining partner. So the journal entry should be, this is for valued goodwill, the journal entry should be A's capital account debit, B's capital account debit, to C's capital account. C should be credited with the calculated amount, that is 20,000, and A and B should be debited with the gaining, in the gaining ratio, that is 5/8 of 20,000, 3/8 of 20,000. So if you could simplify, so 12,500 say A should be debited. So B's capital account should be debited by 7,500. Now moving to the next concept. So treatment of accumulated profits, reserves and losses at the time of retirement of a partner. Definitely at the time of retirement, whatever accumulated profits and reserves created by all the partners, definitely retiring partner also gets his share of benefit. Similarly, whatever accumulated losses are there, again the retiring partner has to bear for the losses also. So here are the some list like general reserve, contingency reserve, revaluation reserve, investment fluctuation reserve, workman compensation reserve. Here I have written difference. So difference means you have to compare with the book value with the market value for investment fluctuation reserve, and for workman compensation reserve you have to consider the available reserve with the claimed amount, right? So this has already been done in the previous topics. So I'll just take an example of this. Suppose if A, B and C were the three partners having a share of 5:3:2, suppose if C retires and in the balance sheet left hand side, I'll just take one of the information, like suppose if general reserve is given. Suppose if general reserve is given for 1 lakh rupees, then your journal entry should be, general reserve account debit to A's capital account, to B's capital account, to C's capital account, and this amount of 1 lakh should be distributed in their old profit and loss ratio, that is 5/10 goes to A, 3/10 goes to B and 2/10 goes to C. So 1 lakh of 5/10 will give you how much? 50,000, 3/10 is 30,000 and 2/10 is 20,000. Okay. So now let's talk about the accumulated losses. Suppose if the losses are also given in the question, I'd like to take same example that A, B and C were the three partners and they are having the same ratio, that is 5:3:2. C is a retiring partner, and in the asset side of your balance sheet, this is your balance sheet, and in your asset side of balance sheet, suppose if they have given you profit and loss account debit balance of say 20,000. So this is a matter of loss for the organization, and definitely all the partner, including the retiring partner, has to bear this loss. So the journal entry should be A's capital account debit, B's capital account debit, C's capital account debit, to profit and loss account. And this amount of 20,000 again has to be distributed by A, B and C in the ratio 5:3:2. That is 5/10 of this amount, that is 10,000 goes to A, 3/10 is 6,000 to B and 4,000 to C. Okay. So I hope you understand this. Thank you so much. See you in the next session. Best wishes.